Well, here we are, day 5, the final day. We are in London currently, just leaving from seeing Cage Work, about to go to Basingstoke to see the band Buds. I guess maybe this is going to be a very different day today. Cage Work are obviously in the big city, kind of at the end of their journey for that particular project, although I'm sure the rest of the musicians will carry on to do something else. Buds are at the beginning of their journey, and in a much smaller sort of environment and scene, so perhaps we'll hear a little more about, you know, community and hubs and things like we've heard from the previous people, or perhaps we won't.
No one's really heard of Basingstoke.
Yeah, literally no one knows where it is.
Yeah, we find that we play most of our shows around Southampton, a bit of Reading.
Yeah, we definitely tend to pretend we're from other local areas to get on their lineups as the local support act, but I mean, it works for us.
Yeah, because we only have like a pub for a venue, which is like a floor show in the corner of the pub.
Basingstoke's just a massive like commuter London overspill town, so they just want like chains, build more flats. There's not even a lick of independent venues or like stores or anything around here.
We used to have a really good scene, but I think they built a Waitrose which killed off 2 of the smaller underground sort of venues, and those were the ones where 16-year-olds used to be able to get into. So from our point of view, going to college at 16, you'd go meet mates in the music rooms, you see them on a Friday night down there at the local gig or the showcase on the Saturday, and it made much more of a scene out of it. Once those venues were gone, none of the younger crowd were coming through because there was nowhere for them to go out and see gigs or go play gigs in their new bands. So there wasn't so much coming up in the scene in the town.
I think having a scene here is really important. I mean, I probably wouldn't have gotten into this at all or as much if it wasn't for having it literally right on my doorstep. I mean,
and just having a scene is just a good way to meet people, because I don't think I would have probably joined the band if I hadn't gone to local gigs. So
it was the same as, I think I probably met you at 2000 Trees Festival, which is another local scene, well, a major scene sort of thing, an event where everyone seems to go to now. And yeah, it's just having that networking and friends and connections. We're now making it by going out touring and meeting the bands and getting those connections ourselves, but it's not on the doorstep anymore, and it's not pushed so much in this town like it used to be. The good thing with us is we've always said that even your shitty gig where we've driven 3 hours and we've got to the pub and there's 2 people there and they've fucked off and they haven't paid us, we've got a free band practice out of it. We don't care, and we've had a laugh in the car down there. We'll go and see a bit of a new city. Maybe it's just their petrol station, but we'll see that. And then we're happy to do that. And I think that's why we've continued when our old bands have stopped and members have left, is because as much as it's a struggle with the travels and the jobs and all that, we still enjoy just getting in the car and driving 3 hours, chatting shit, and then playing a show to no one.
Sing your heart out when it feels lost at the bottom of the sea, or make a promise when you don't know how to be it is. Oh, 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 oh. What to do today to keep a smile on your face? Can you find the words to say and stop the fear of early graves? Oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. but I don't know how to feel it. I need hope, and never to forget it. You're so full of joy. Can you tell me what's your secret? What to do today to keep a smile on your face? Can you find the words to say and stop the fear about the grace? Oh, oh, oh. Tell me where to get it, I need comfort, but I don't know how to feel it. I need hope, and never to forget it. You're so full of joy. Can you tell me what's your secret? I need hope. Can you tell me where to get it? I need comfort, but I don't know how to feel it. I need hope, and never to forget it. You're so full of joy. Can you tell me what's your secret? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. I was born, always had it on tobacco, was so sure. Now I don't know who I am, how did you cope? When you had so much less, so tell me how do we get out of this mess? I need hope. Can you tell me where to get it? I need comfort, but I don't know how to feel it. I need hope, and never to forget it. You're so full of joy. Can you tell me what's your secret? I need comfort, but I don't know how to feel it. I need hope, and never to forget it. You're so full of joy. Can you tell me what's your secret? Oh, oh, oh. Ooh. Just give me hope. Just give me hope. Just give me hope. Comfort, strength to carry on. Hope, comfort, strength. Just give me hope.
Yeah, most of my musical influences are male. Within like the music I like to listen to, like math, prog, punk, it is very male dominated. Representation is good. There's like, especially like having female lyricists, you're getting different perspective of different situations and perspectives. There's a Brighton band called Lambrini Girls. They're really good. They're a three-piece. They're all women and talk about things that you don't hear other punk bands talking about.
I guess like it's a kind of weird one because I am obviously a person of colour in a band, and like yeah, it's obviously more uncommon in our genre of music. It's kind of odd though, because I guess I don't really sing about the black experience all that much. And I think a bit of that comes from living in like a predominantly white town. It's kind of like I'm still working out what my black experience kind of is. Just try and view as like I'm in a way doing a positive thing. Like I obviously want to be judged on like the quality of my songwriting and my singing ability, but I do like that I'm also able to like be like a different face in a predominantly white male space. I really enjoy that Loathe are kind of out there smashing it, and it's really cool to just see like a person of colour as like their like front man, like the face of the band. It's just like, yeah. Especially like when I went to school and people would be like, why do you like this and not rap music? And it's like, I do like rap music, I just gravitate to this more for some reason. Yeah.
Like, I think when we were growing up, obviously it's different because you're fucking old, but like, I don't know, in the mainstream we at least had like sort of Arctic Monkeys and stuff, you know, but like now,
That's true.
Nowadays mainstream music fucking sucks. And like, I think it's definitely harder to get into what we do because you're not sort of exposed to that sort of thing unless you're really looking for it nowadays.
Find people who are passionate as you are. If you think you're definitely up for it and you really want to go and get in a band and find people, don't waste time finding people who maybe are just half-arsing it, or that looks cool to play a show once a month or whatever. If you want to actually make it, you've got to put a lot of time into it. It becomes your second job.
And make sure that you want to do it and you want to do it for free. Because you're not going to make any money for a fucking long time, so make sure that's not something that matters to you.
Yeah, but I guess also I personally struggled a lot with like holding down a job whilst being in a band, because like I'd had like a lot of 9 to 5s that I just would sort of work in, and then I would just get really bad at doing because I'd just be like either knackered from a show that we'd played, or I'd just be like just unable to focus because like I don't really care about it and I'd much rather just be making music. And sometimes that feeling can get you very down, which makes it even harder to work. Just to remember to like look after yourself, because like it's exhilarating and yeah, you can celebrate afterwards, you can party afterwards, but if you're doing that day after day after day, it's going to start to really impact you unless you're superhuman. Maybe party hard but party less often, I don't know.
We can't end it on that. Party hard and party less often. That sucks.
Party all the time.
Alright, so here we are 9 months later. I've just finished watching the whole thing through properly for the first time, and I guess I'm sort of in the same position that you are right now, in that I'm trying to figure out why do they do it. And I guess I came into this with no preconception. It was just a desire to find out why. And I think there's a few different themes as to why they might do it. I think maybe one of those is a compulsion. You know, the main reason why these bands want to do it is because they have to. I guess maybe these people have grown up listening to bands, seeing bands, and having that opportunity to want to be in bands, and that's been sort of brought around maybe by the second reason why I think people do it, which is community. You know, whether that be a local venue or a festival nearby or a rehearsal space. They've had an introduction to music, they've seen people doing music and realised that somebody has to do it, and maybe they'd really like to do it. With that comes the importance of representation. I think we heard some of the people talking about there being a diverse range of people on the stage, and that making them feel empowered to want to do that themselves. And regardless of who you are, you know, if you don't have a local venue, or you don't have an environment where you can see these things happening and see these bands, you don't know that it happens, and you certainly don't feel empowered that you could do that yourself. I think that that's a big problem that's been brought about by closing down of these sort of community hubs, these venues and rehearsal spaces. We heard about that a lot throughout, the importance of spaces in the towns where they had them, and the great feeling of loss in the spaces where they didn't have them. And I think that brings us on to our final point as to why people do it. And I think that's love. Love makes you do crazy things. If you love the guitar, when you get home from school when you're 14, you won't do your homework and you'll practice guitar for 6 hours and you'll stay up super late doing it until your fingers are all sore and bleeding, you know. You'll sing along to songs until you can't sing anymore and your voice is all blown out. you'll drive across the country to go and watch a band or to go and play with a band at great personal and financial expense to yourself. You'll hamstring your personal and professional life, sabotage your finances and your relationships in order to do something that you think is so holistically important, and that's because you love it. And I think when you love something, you're willing to sacrifice anything to make it happen. And so I would say that the main reason that people make DIY music and continue to make DIY music is for love, and I hope that that will happen forever.
It's alright, 'cause I'll do what I do. It's alright, 'cause I'll never be you. It's alright, 'cause I'll do what I do. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright, 'cause I'll never be you.
I fucking love bands, but I also hate bands.